The chapter begins with a striking declaration. Lin Jiken is hailed as the #1 mage cultivator in the world, a title earned through power and prestige. But this glory is short-lived. In a brutal twist of fate, Lin finds himself cornered by a mutated beast staring death in the face. Am I really going to be killed like this? He thinks only for betrayal to cut deeper than claws. His most trusted companions, Guoji and Su Zaiwei, reveal their true colors. Guog, the woman he loved for a decade, coldly declares their relationship a transaction. You're a good man. You always satisfied my every need. I'll take this ring as your last gift to me. Su Zaiwei, his sworn brother, adds salt to the wound. What I mean is, Zaiwei and I are together now. You're an eyesore. We came to send you off. The two strip Lin of everything his treasures, his dignity, even his life, leaving him to die. But death is not the end. Lin awakens in a dormitory, dazed and gasping. Wasn't I killed by the torch dragon? Why does this look like my university room? His confusion mounts as he checks the date, July 2040, realizing the impossible. He's been reborn 10 years in the past. On the eve of the global VR game 8 Wastelands launch, memories flood back. Rumors of the Torch Dragon's Pisces pendant, an artifact capable of reviving its wielder. So it was real, Lin murmurs. The pendant, overlooked by his betrayers, has granted him a second chance. Lin's shock gives way to cold determination. Since the heavens don't abandon me, he vows, I'll make Guoji and Su Zaiwei taste betrayal in this life. But first, he must prepare. He recalls 8 Wastelands' darkest secret. In 5 years, the game's monsters, powers, and treasures will merge with reality. Those who dominate the game early will rule the new world. Lin's mind races. He must abandon his old life, invest every resource into the game, and outmaneuver his future enemies. A phone call interrupts his planning. It's an old friend, Crazy Bitch, a nickname worn with affection. She breathlessly reveals she saw Guoji kissing a man in a sports car. Lin's calm surprises her. Why aren't you upset? She demands. Lin brushes it off. There's something more important. He confides his plan to become a professional 8 Wastelands player, leaving her stunned. You're serious? She exclaims. Lin's resolve is ironclad. I'm moving out tomorrow. This game isn't just a game, it's the key to survival. Yet, reality intrudes. Lin checks his bank account. Who told you to spend everything on Guoji's birthday? Crazy Bitch scolds. Lin grimaces. Even rebirth can't undo past financial mistakes. He borrows money, promising repayment with interest, and prepares for August 7th, 2040, the day 8 Wastelands launches. As the clock ticks down, Lin steels himself. This time, he whispers, I'll rewrite fate. We head over to the digital realm of 8 Wastelands, where players are suddenly being sucked away by an unknown force, their avatars vanishing mid-game. The cause? Lady Nuwa, a powerful NPC who punishes those who dare to harbor improper thoughts about her. The surviving players whisper warnings, stay clear of her. But one player remains unfazedly, Jiken, the man who has cheated death itself. Lin approaches Lady Nuwa with reverence, requesting her blessings. My name is Lin Jiken, he declares, knowing this moment could alter his second chance at life. As the system processes his request, he reflects on his past. In his previous life, his innate talent, business prodigy, had been mediocre at best, granting him mere 10% discounts in shops. But now, reborn with the heavens themselves defied. He receives something extraordinary, alter fate, a talent that breaks the rules of existence. The system announces his new abilities, maxed attributes at birth, but with terrifying risks. Death reduces his power by 10%, and each breakthrough invites catastrophic heavenly tribulations. Yet Lin grins. This talent is broken, he thinks. The rewards doubled attributes after breakthroughs, random bonus talents, and the potential to reshape destiny far outweigh the dangers. The greater the risks, the better the rewards, he murmurs, embracing his path of defiance. Next, Lin faces character creation. In his past life, he'd chosen a ridiculous afro-haired avatar, tired of being handsome. But now, he knows better. Charisma is king in 8 wastelands. The better you look, the easier it is to gain NPC favor, he muses, selecting a model with maximum charm, stark contrast to his past mistake. The games for starting regions flash before him, each tied to a cultivation path. Yongning for magic, Yuhua for medicine, Muxian for weapons, and Hua Feng for body cultivation. Lin recalls his past life's error choosing magic to impress Guo Ji, only to be vulnerable in solo battles. This time, he selects sword cultivation with the highest single target damage. He reasons, I'll fear no ambushes. The game world materializes around him, the beginner's village, bustling with clueless players. Game noob, please carry me. One pleads. Are there any chicks who want to become a couple? Another shouts. Lin ignores them, smirking at their naivety. While they scramble for hidden quests from an old man NPC, Lin strides toward the sword. Sect, his maxed charisma already opening doors. A tailor shop owner, Kui Nyang, intercepts him. My name is Kui Nyang, she purrs, and I've been single since my husband died 5 years ago. She offers him a quest with help if it proves too difficult. Lin recognizes the power of his charisma at work. The NPCs really do favor the handsome, he thinks, amused as the chapter ends. Lin stands at the threshold of his new destiny, reborn, rewritten, ready. The sword at his side glimmers, not just a weapon, but a symbol. This time, he vows, no betrayal will go unpunished. No limit will go unchallenged. The game has begun. Our protagonist, Lin Jiken, strides through the beginner's village of 8 wastelands, his maxed-out charisma already turning heads. A flirtatious widow NPC, Kui Niang, bats her eyelashes and offers him a special mission, one that hints at dual cultivation rewards. The surrounding players gape in jealousy. He rejected a mission we couldn't even get. One whines, but Lin smirks. He's no fool. Beauty won't distract him this time. In this life, I'll become the #1 sword cultivator, he reminds himself, walking away from the temptation. While other players mob obvious quest givers, Lin heads straight for a useless blacksmith shop. Don't bother, a clueless player warns. The blacksmith's deaf and gives no quests. Lin merely nods, he knows better. Inside, he finds the smith struggling with a dying forge. Without hesitation, Lin grabs the bellows and pumps life into the flames. The blacksmith's eyes light up. Thank you, young man. My apprentice is absent today. As a reward, he offers Lin any weapon for just 1 day. The other beginners scoff at such a stingy deal, but Lin's grin widens. He selects a sword, then listens intently as the blacksmith murmurs, "Bring me 10 venomous fangs from green pit vipers, and I'll give you a real opportunity." Outside, Envious players demand to know how Lin got his weapon. With a straight face, Lin spins a ridiculous lie, sing a love song to the heartbroken blacksmith. The gullible mob bursts into off-key ballads about forgetting lost love, only to realize, too late, they've been pranked. The green pit viper strikes like liquid lightning, its fangs glistening with venom as it lunges for Lin Jiken's throat. But Lin is already moving. His borrowed sword flashes upward in a silver arc, shearing through the serpent's skull before it can hiss. The corpse thrashes once, then dissolves into pixels, leaving behind 3 fangs, a coiled whip, and a shower of copper coins. Lin exhales sharply. Pathetic, he mutters, flicking gore from his blade. Tactical breakdown with rhythmic cadence. He doesn't fight these creatures, he harvests them. First form, dancing moth cuts the wind, a horizontal slash that decapitates 2 vipers mid-leap, their bodies crumpling like cut strings. Second form, falling petal guard, a defensive spin that parries a venomous spray. The sword edge deflecting droplets with metallic pings. Final stroke, Heaven's Cleaver, a 2-handed overhead smash that splits a viper vertically from fang to tail, the halves peeling apart like overripe fruit. System narration with awe, the game's loot system overloads, where normal players might slay 10 snakes for 1 fang. Lin's maxed luck stat warps reality. Every kill spills bonus loot, poisoned daggers, scaled armor fragments, even a rare viper's kiss. Arrow ignores 15% defense. His cultivation level climbs with each strike, the progress bar blazing like a comet. The system whispers in crimson. Text, warning, abnormal drop rate detected. Lin ignores it. Nearby, a group of players flail against a single viper. One warrior chokes as venom paralyzes his avatar. A mage's fireball fizzles against the snake's hide. Why won't it die? The mage shrieks. Lin doesn't laugh. He pities them. Their movements are unweighted, their footwork unrooted amateurs, swinging stats, not steel. Later, the blacksmith tests a fang's edge against his thumb. Blood wells up, sharp enough to pierce a dragon's eye. He approves, handing Lin the sword sect invitation. The parchment hums with latent energy. But remember, the smith's voice drops. Their trials don't test skill, they test survival. Closing. With foreboding, Lin tucks the letter into his robe, already sensing the sword sect's shadowed gates. The vipers were insects. What comes next will be monsters. The marketplace of 8 wastelands buzzes with fresh-faced players. Their avatars still clad in starter rags, except one. Lin Jiken leans against a wooden stall, twirling a gleaming poison-tipped bow between his fingers. Selling this prized weapon, he announces, flashing a disarming smile. Highest bidder wins. The crowd murmurs, how did a beginner acquire such loot? Lin's excuse is flawless. I need funds to marry a wife. A lie, of course, but one that paints him as harmless. Shift to calculated tension. The bidding starts small, 500 coins from a hopeful archer. Then, a ripple parts the crowd as Wang Jinghao, president of the powerful Wanshi Guild, strides forward. 60,000 coins, he declares, gold-trimmed robes shimmering. Lin's pulse quickens. He recognizes this man in his past life. Wang had sabotaged him after a rejected recruitment offer. Now, fate hands Lin's sweet revenge, wrapped in opportunity. Duel of wits, playful tone. Wang plays the magnanimous tycoon. Let me pay for your entire wedding. Lin bows the picture of humility. A gentleman doesn't take undeserved gifts. Their exchange is a dance of feigned respect, but Lin's mind races. Just as Wang prepares to seal the deal, a new voice cuts through. 500,000 coins. Enter the wild card. A woman in silver armor steps forward, her avatar radiating pay-to-win opulence. The crowd gasps. Wang's face darkens. Do you know who I am? He snarls. She yawns. A man who can't afford to lose. The insult ignites a bidding war, prices soaring into absurdity. Lin watches. Delighted, this reckless rich player is the perfect pawn. The sting's smug satisfaction, Lin finally relents to Wang's 500,000 coin offer, whispering false gratitude, with want she's support. How could I refuse? As gold changes hands, Lin's inner monologue revels in the scam. The bow's limited poison arrows will force Wang to waste hours grinding replenishments. The guild's resources will be diverted to beginner quests instead of power leveling. Best of all, Wang thanks him for the privilege, closing with looming threat as Lin vanishes into the crowd. Coins heavy in his inventory, the silver-armored woman corners him. We need to talk, she says. Lin tenses. Is she an enemy, an ally or something? Worse, the screen flashes. One She Guild members detected nearby. Lin's grin returns. Let them come. He's just getting started. Lin Jiken moves through the bustling beginner's village with calculated purpose, his every action serving multiple layers of strategy. Having already scammed the arrogant guild leader Wang Jinghao out of 500,000 coins, he now sets his sights on a new target, Wanling, a beautiful but sharp-tongued player who clearly despises Wang. Their encounter begins with wary tension as Wanling questions why Lin would approach her with valuable information instead of his previous benefactor. Lin's performance is masterful. He adopts the persona of a desperate informant, claiming poverty forces him to sell secrets. This intel can make your guild dominate the early game, he whispers, quoting the absurd price of 500,000 coins. When Wanling challenges why he didn't sell to Wang Jinghao instead, Lin's face twists with convincing disdain. Let Wang support me. Is he even worthy? The line strikes true. Wanling's visible satisfaction confirms she's exactly the rival Lin suspected. The transaction completes with Wanling transferring the funds, convinced she's purchased exclusive knowledge about a hidden blacksmith quest. Lin's instructions are precise. Help the shop owner blow the bellows for 5 minutes during forging. He emphasizes secrecy. Others learn this method. The advantage vanishes. What Lin doesn't reveal is that while the quest is real, its rewards are trivial compared to what he's already obtained. His true goal isn't the money, but to divert powerful players into wasting precious early game time. As Wanling's group departs to test his information, Lin's attention shifts to the wilderness. He tracks Wanling's party at a distance, observing. As they stumble upon the zone's boss, a monstrous wild boar king far beyond their level. Their panic is palpable as the beast charges, its tusks goring through armor. Lin waits until the critical moment before making his entrance. Since you're abandoning this boss, he interjects calmly, do excuse me. The audacity makes Wanling's jaw drop. Lin borrows a sword from her stunned subordinate, his grip immediately adjusting to the weapon's weight. What follows isn't a battle of brute strength, but of surgical precision. The Boar King's attack patterns reveal themselves to Lin's analytical gazer, slight stumble after every third charge. A vulnerable moment when it rears to stomp. Lin exploits these milliseconds with flawless timing. His first strike isn't aimed at the beast's thick hide, but at the delicate tendons behind its knees. The second slash follows the same cut, deepening the wound. By the fifth Dejand counter, the beast moves sluggishly, its health bar dwindling not through massive blows, but through accumulated, strategic damage. When the Boar King finally collapses, the system messages explode across Lin's vision. His cultivation level surges straight into the key-refining stage, unprecedented leap for a new player. His unique Alter Fate talent activates, doubling all attributes. A second notification follows. A random bonus talent, Seed of Vitality, boosts his health pool to twice that of peers. The triumph turns ominous as dark clouds gather above him. A final alert warns of impending heavenly tribulation, a catastrophic lightning storm that will obliterate him unless he finds sanctuary. Lin's sprint to the Sword Sect becomes a race against annihilation. At the sect gates, Lin's performance shifts again. Where moments ago he was a ruthless combatant, now he plays the role of a desperate disciple. "Let there be an expert who will accept me," he cries, drawing curious elders. When the heavenly tribulation strikes, its bolts illuminate the entire mountain. The spectacle achieves Lin's goal sect leader Lang Fion, a legend who never takes disciples, emerges from her seclusion. Her offer to accept Lin sends murmurs through the crowd. He accepts with perfect humility, though internally he recognizes the jackpot he's hit. As Lang Fion leads him to the sword, Palace the sect's most sacred training ground, Lin notes her cold demeanor. "Meet me at dawn tomorrow," she instructs before vanishing. Left alone in lavish quarters, Lin's mask finally drops. His fingers trace the intricate carvings of his new disciple token, while his mind analyzes every advantage gained. The heavenly tribulation, the sect leader's interest, the enemy's manipulated doll pieces on a board only he fully sees. The heavy gates of the Tianyon Sword Sect closed behind Lin Jiken with an air of permanence, sealing him into his new life as the sect leader's direct disciple. The stone courtyard stretched before him, empty save for the whispering of wind. Through ancient pines, an hour passed with no sign of the promised guiding disciple, the moonlight casting long shadows across the polished stone paths. Lin's patience wore thin. This delay was either a test or negligence, and he intended to discover which. Setting aside decorum, he began exploring the restricted inner residences himself, his footsteps silent against the worn stone. The architecture grew increasingly ornate as he ventured deeper, each building radiating spiritual energy that prickled against his skin. His fingers brushed against an elaborately carved door depicting twin dragons chasing a pearl when it swung open beneath his touch, revealing sect leader Lang Fion standing in a private meditation chamber, her piercing gaze locking onto him with the intensity of a drawn sword. Lin's bow was instantaneous, his forehead nearly touching the cold stone floor as he murmured apologies, explaining the missing guide and his unintended intrusion. The air itself seemed to crystallize with Lang Fion's displeasure each second, stretching taut before she finally spoke, her voice like winter steel questioning his presence. Lin weighed his options, carefully admitting weakness could undermine his position, but deception risked far worse consequences. He chose calculated vulnerability, complementing the residence's magnificence and expressing his admiration for true cultivators. The tense silence that followed was broken only by something clattering at his knees, a violet jade pill radiating such potent energy it made his teeth vibrate. Lang Fion dismissed it as mere mystical-grade medicine to be consumed within 5 minutes, but Lin recognized the unspoken test and instead pocketed it with protestations of unworthiness, earning himself a sharp dismissal as the door slammed shut behind him. The real guiding disciple arrived moments later in a flurry of apologies. Senior Sister Nan Gonggu, whose cheerful demeanor contrasted starkly with their master's severity. Her wide eyes and nervous laughter revealed she'd been assigned to escort him hours ago, but became distracted reading romance novels. Lin seized the opportunity to cultivate favor, clutching his chest in a convincing display of pain as he hinted at suffering their master's displeasure during his wait. Nan Gongyu's guilt manifested in tangible rewards. First, a ki-replenishing pill pressed into his hands with trembling fingers. Then, as Lin expertly complimented her beauty and cultivation level, a spiritual-grade jade pendant that could block crystallization stage attacks. Their walk to his new residence became an information-gathering exercise as Nan Gongyu, disarmed by his apparent vulnerability, revealed that Leng Fion never took disciples and that multiple elders had tried to poach him during the heavenly tribulation. The residence itself was another calculated gift, equipped with an earth-grade spirit-gathering formation that made Nan Gongyu gasp in envy, its energy pulses accelerating cultivation tenfold compared to standard arrangements. Alone, at last, Lin examined his accumulated advantages. The untouched violet pill, whose true purpose he suspected went beyond healing, the defensive jade pendant, and the formation that would let him outpace his peers. As he settled onto the meditation platform, system messages confirmed his progress. Key refining stage achieved. Maxed innate comprehension, cultivation points accumulating at an unprecedented rate. But beneath his composed exterior, Lin's mind churned with unanswered questions. Why would the famously aloof sect leader take such interest in him? Why assign a distractible disciple as his guide? The residency's proximity to Leng Feion's quarters suggested surveillance as much as privilege. Every gift seemed designed to test his judgment as much as aid his progress. The violet pill, in particular, troubled him. Consuming it might reveal obedience, but could also grant Leng Feion some means of tracking him, while refusing it outright would show defiance. His compromise, accepting but not consuming it, walked the delicate line between respect and independence. The following days settled into a rhythm of cultivation and careful social maneuvering. Nan Gongyu's favorability increased with each interaction, her initial 10-point casual rating climbing steadily as Lin played the admiring junior brother. He discovered her fondness for romantic poetry and made sure to quote appropriate verses during their encounters, each carefully chosen line earning subtle boosts in their relationship metrics. The game's favorability system unfolded before him like a strategic map, familiar, casual, companion, close, through each threshold up to the coveted together till death level that promised dual cultivation benefits. But Lin moved cautiously, aware that progressing too quickly might trigger unwanted consequences with an NPC of her standing. Meanwhile, his cultivation advanced in leaps thanks to the spirit gathering formation, each session bringing him closer to the next breakthrough while he prepared countermeasures for the inevitable heavenly tribulation. Leng Feion maintained her distance, observing through intermediaries, her occasional gifts always carrying layered meanings. The mystical grade pill remained in his inventory, a silent standoff between master and disciple. Lin used the time to explore the sect's political landscape, noting which elders had attempted to recruit him and which resented his rapid rise. He cultivated strategic friendships with kitchen staff and librarians, sources of information often overlooked by proud cultivators. Through them, He learned of Leng Feiyan's mysterious absences every full moon, the growing tension with the neighboring Thundercloud sect, and the upcoming Inner Disciple tournament that would test his worthiness as a direct disciple. As the week progressed, Lin balanced multiple objectives, advancing his cultivation to solidify his position, building alliances without appearing ambitious, and deciphering Leng Feiyan's true intentions. His residence became a hub of quiet activity, with Nan Gongyu visiting more frequently under the pretext of guidance. Her favorability now at the companion level after he gifted her a rare romance manuscript accidentally found in the library. Their conversations revealed crucial details about sect politics, though Lin carefully avoided direct questions that might arouse suspicion. Instead, he let Nan Gongyu fill the silence with gossip about which elders opposed Leng Feiyan's reforms and which junior disciples showed unusual talent. The chapter reaches its turning point when Lin's cultivation approaches the next bottleneck. The system warns of impending heavenly tribulation in 30 minutes, a death sentence without proper preparation. Rather than panic, Lin sees opportunity. He deliberately seeks out Nan Gongyu in the herb garden, allowing her to notice his unstable energy fluctuations. Her alarm triggers exactly the sequence he'd hoped for. She rushes him to Leng Feiyan's residence, violating the usual protocols in her concern. The sect leader's reaction confirms Lin's suspicions about the violet pill as she produces an identical one from her sleeve without hesitation, watching closely as he finally consumes it under her gaze. The effects are immediate. His meridians stabilize just as the first lightning bolt strikes the courtyard outside. What follows is a masterclass in calculated survival as Lin endures the tribulation with Leng Feiyan's discreet guidance, each exchanged glance carrying unspoken negotiations about loyalty and expectations. When the storm clears, Lin stands transformed, not just in cultivation level, but in Leng Feiyan's estimation. Her slight nod speaks volumes. He has passed whatever test this was. In the aftermath, the sect's attitude toward Lin shifts palpably. Elders who previously ignored him now offer grudging respect. Nan Gongyu's favorability jumps to the close threshold after witnessing his ordeal. Her protective instincts awakened. Most importantly, Leng Feiyan begins including him in select advanced training sessions, their relationship evolving from wary observation to something resembling mentorship. Yet Lin remains acutely aware that every privilege comes with invisible strings attached. The Earthgrade formation in his room hums with renewed intensity, its energy now carrying faint traces of monitoring ki. The jade pendant from Nan Gongyu grows warm at unexpected moments, suggesting functions beyond its stated abilities. Even the romance-loving senior sister seems to drop hints about her true awareness at odd intervals. The chapter closes with Lin standing at his window, watching disciples train in the courtyard below as he contemplates the delicate web of relationships he's woven. His fingers absently trace the violet pill's empty wrapper. Had it truly been just medicine or something more? The answer would determine his next moves in this dangerous game of cultivation and politics. For now, he plays the grateful disciple flawlessly, even as he quietly prepares countermeasures against every possible betrayal. The Sword Sect thinks it has acquired a promising new talent, but only Lin knows the full extent of his ambitions. And the Reincarnator's sect, the morning mist curling around his boots as he awaited his assigned guiding disciple. The sun had barely risen, casting long shadows across the stone courtyard. Yet no one came to greet the sect leader's newest direct disciple. As the minutes stretched into an hour, Lin's patience wore thin. This delay was either a deliberate test or negligent oversight, and he intended to discover which. Abandoning protocol, he ventured into the restricted inner residences alone, his footsteps silent against the polished stone. The architecture grew increasingly ornate as he progressed, each building humming with spiritual energy that prickled against his skin. His fingers brushed against an elaborately carved door depicting twin dragons chasing a pearl when it swung. Open, unbidden, revealing sect leader Leng Fion standing in a private meditation chamber, her piercing gaze locking onto him like a drawn sword. Lin's bow was instantaneous, his forehead nearly touching the cold floor as he offered hurried apologies. The missing guide, his unintended intrusion, the air itself seemed to crystallize with Leng Fion's displeasure, each second stretching, taut before she finally spoke, her voice like winter steel questioning his presence. Lin weighed his options with care, admitting weakness could undermine his position, but deception risked far graver consequences. He chose calculated vulnerability, complimenting the residence's magnificence and expressing admiration for true cultivators. The silence that followed was broken only by something clattering at his knees, a violet jade pill radiating such potent energy it made his teeth vibrate. Leng Fion dismissed it as mere mystical-grade medicine to be consumed within 5 minutes, but Lin recognized the unspoken test. Instead of swallowing it immediately, he pocketed the pill with protestations of unworthiness, earning a sharp dismissal as the door slammed shut behind him. The real guiding disciple arrived moments later in a flurry of apologies. Senior Sister Non Gongyu, whose cheerful demeanor contrasted starkly with their master's severity. Her widened eyes and nervous laughter revealed she'd been assigned to escort him hours ago, but became distracted reading romance novels. Lin seized the opportunity to cultivate favor, clutching his chest in a convincing display of pain as he hinted at suffering Leng Feion's displeasure during his prolonged wait. Nan Gongyu's guilt manifested in tangible rewards. First, a ki-replenishing pill pressed into his hands with trembling fingers. Then, as Lin expertly complimented her beauty and cultivation level, a spiritual-grade jade pendant capable of blocking crystallization stage attacks. Their walk to his new residence became an exercise in information gathering as Nan Gongyu, disarmed by his apparent vulnerability, revealed that Leng Fion never took disciples and that multiple elders had tried to poach him during the heavenly tribulation. The residence itself was another calculated gift equipped with an earth-grade spirit-gathering formation that made Nan Gongyu gasp in envy, its energy pulses accelerating cultivation tenfold compared to standard arrangements. Alone at last, Lin examined his accumulated advantages, the untouched violet pill, whose true purpose he suspected went beyond healing, the defensive jade pendant, and the formation that would let him outpace his peers. As he settled onto the meditation platform, system messages confirmed his progress. Refining stage achieved. Maxed innate comprehension, cultivation points accumulating at an unprecedented rate. But beneath his composed exterior, Lin's mind churned with unanswered questions. Why would the famously aloof sect leader take such interest? Why assign a distractible disciple as his guide? The residence's proximity to Leng Feion's quarters suggested surveillance as much as privilege. Every gift seemed designed to test his judgment. The violet pill, in particular, troubled him. Consuming it might reveal obedience, but could grant Leng Fion tracking means, while refusing it outright would show defiance. His compromise, accepting but not consuming it, walked the delicate line between respect and independence. The following Days settled into a rhythm of cultivation and careful social maneuvering. Nan Gongyu's favorability increased with each interaction, her initial casual rating climbing steadily as Lin played the admiring junior brother. He discovered her fondness for romantic poetry and made sure to quote appropriate verses during encounters, each carefully chosen line earning subtle relationship boosts. The game's favorability system unfolded before him: familiar, casual, companion, close each threshold, offering greater benefits up to the coveted together till death level, promising dual cultivation advantages. But Lin proceeded cautiously, aware that progressing too quickly with an NPC of her standing might trigger unwanted consequences. Meanwhile, his cultivation advanced in leaps thanks to the spirit gathering formation, each session bringing him closer to the next breakthrough as he prepared countermeasures for the inevitable heavenly tribulation. Leng Fion maintained her distance, observing through intermediaries, her occasional gifts always carrying layered meanings. The mystical grade pill remained in his inventory, a silent standoff between master and disciple. Lin used the time to explore the sect's political landscape, noting which elders had attempted to recruit him and which resented his rapid rise. He cultivated strategic friendships with kitchen staff and librarian sources, often overlooked by proud cultivators. Through them, he learned of Leng Feiyon's mysterious full moon absences, the growing tension with the Thundercloud sect, and the upcoming Inner Disciple tournament that would test his worthiness as a direct disciple. As the week progressed, Lin balanced multiple objectives, advancing his cultivation to solidify his position, building alliances without appearing ambitious, and deciphering Leng Feiyon's true intentions. His residence became a hub of quiet activity, with Nan Gongyu visiting more frequently under pretexts of guidance. Her favorability now at companion level after he gifted her a rare romance manuscript accidentally found in the library. Their conversations revealed crucial sect politics, though Lin carefully avoided direct questions that might arouse suspicion. Instead, he let Nan Gongyu fill the silence with gossip about which elders opposed Leng Feiyon's reforms and which junior disciples showed unusual promise. The chapter's turning point came as Lin's cultivation approached the next bottleneck. The system warned of impending heavenly tribulation, a death sentence, without proper preparation. Rather than panic, Lin saw opportunity. He deliberately sought out Nan Gongyu in the herb garden, allowing her to notice his unstable energy fluctuations. Her alarm triggered exactly the sequence he'd hoped. She rushed him to Leng Feiyon's residence, violating protocols in her concern. The sect leader's reaction confirmed Lin's suspicions about the violet pill as she produced an identical one from her sleeve without hesitation, watching closely as he finally consumed it under her gaze. The effects were immediate. His meridians stabilized just as the first lightning bolt struck the courtyard outside. What followed was a masterclass in calculated survival as Lin endured the tribulation with Leng Feiyon's discreet guidance. Each exchanged glance carrying unspoken negotiations about loyalty and expectations. When the storm cleared, Lin stood transformed not just in cultivation level, but in Leng Feiyon's estimation. Her slight nod spoke volumes. He had passed whatever test this was. In the aftermath, the sect's attitude toward Lin shifted palpably. Elders who'd ignored him now offered grudging respect. Nan Gongyu's favorability jumped to the close threshold after witnessing his ordeal. Her protective instincts awakened. Most importantly, Leng Feion began including him in select advanced training sessions, their relationship evolving from wary observation to something resembling mentorship. Yet Lin remained acutely aware that every privilege came with invisible strings. The earth-grade formation in his room hummed with renewed intensity, its energy now carrying faint traces of monitoring ki. The jade pendant from Nangongyu grew, warm at unexpected moments, suggesting functions beyond its stated abilities. Even the romance-loving senior sister seemed to drop hints about her true awareness at odd intervals. The chapter closed with Lin standing at his window, watching disciples train below as he contemplated the delicate web he'd woven. His fingers absently traced the violet pill's empty wrapper. Had it truly been just medicine, or something more? The answer would determine his next moves in this dangerous game of cultivation and politics. For now, he played the grateful disciple flawlessly, even as he quietly prepared countermeasures against every possible betrayal. The sword sect thought it had acquired a promising talent, but only Lin knew the full extent of his ambitions and the Reincarnator's knowledge that made them possible. The scent of cheap wine and perfumed silk clung to the air of Feng City's red light district, a place where secrets were traded as freely as flesh. Lin Chen moved through the crowd like a shadow, his hand resting on the hilt of the crimson. Clouds soared. The intelligence merchant's words echoed in his mind. Joe Hao is here. But his brother is a foundation stage. Cultivator. Revenge was a dish best served with caution, and Lin Chen had no intention of choking on it. The tavern was a den of decadence, its wooden floors sticky with spilled liquor, the lantern light casting long shadows over the patrons. Joe Hao lounged at a corner table, his thunder saber propped against the wall like a trophy. A woman draped over his shoulder giggled as he poured wine down her throat, his laughter coarse and unrefined. Lin Chun's fingers tightened around his sword. This was the man who had slaughtered Zhang Haiya, fellow disciple of the Tianyan sword sect, left to rot on the roadside like carrion. Joe Hao, Lin Chen said, his voice cutting through the tavern's din. The rogue cultivator's grin faltered for a heartbeat before widening into a sneer. So, it's a bastard from the Tianyan sword sect, Joe Hao drawled, shoving the woman aside. An initial phase, key-refining runt, no less. You think you can seek revenge? He barked a laugh, the sound grating like rusted metal. Next time, I'll have your entire sect lining up to pleasure me. The crimson cloud sword sang as Lin Chen drew it, its blade catching the lantern light in a crimson arc. Joe Hao's amusement vanished. He snatched up his thunder saber, the weapon crackling with unstable energy. The first clash sent a shockwave through the room, scattering cups and sending patrons scrambling. Joe Hao's wind energy saber technique was wild, each strike like a storm, gust powerful but undisciplined. Lin Chen countered with the precision of the Tianyan Heart Sutra, his movements fluid, his mind clear. The 5% increase in his attributes thrummed through his meridians, a steady undercurrent of strength. Joe Hao's health dwindled with each exchange, his arrogance giving way to desperation. How, he spat, blood trickling from a gash on his arm. You're just an initial phase. Lin Chen didn't answer. He didn't need to. The Tianyan Heart Sutra wasn't just a technique. It was a foundation, and his was firmer than Joe Hao's brute force. A final pivot, a flash of crimson, and Joe Hao staggered back, his saber clattering to the ground. Wait. Joe Hao wheezed, clutching his chest. I'll give you the sect's secrets. Just spare the plea. Died as Lin Chun's blade found his throat. Justice, not mercy, was the Tianyan way. Then the air shifted. A presence heavier than mountains crushed the tavern's noise into silence. Zhou Shen stood in the doorway, his robes pristine, his eyes twin pits of fury. "Brother." Zhou Hao gasped, reaching for him like a drowning man. Zhou Shen didn't look at him, his gaze locked onto Lin Shen. "You," he said, the word a death sentence. "Lin." Chun's pulse hammered, but his grip on the sword didn't waver. Foundation stage, a realm above his own. The system's unspoken warning flared in his mind. Asterisk, health, 2,300 2,300ths, enemy, foundation, stage, initial phase, estimated survival rate, 12%. Asterisk, Zhou Shen moved. The world blurred. Lin Shen barely registered. The pain as a fist slammed into his ribs, sending him crashing through a table. Bones cracked. Blood filled his mouth. Zhou Shen loomed over him, his voice a whisper. "Hand over the spirit shield, and I'll make it quick." Lin Shen spat red onto the floor. "Come, take it." The tavern erupted into chaos. Asterisk, asterisk, denouement. Asterisk, asterisk, the lanterns flickered like dying stars as Lin Shen rolled to his feet, his vision swimming. Zhou Shen's aura pressed down like a physical weight, but beneath it, something stirred a calculation, a gamble. The spirit shield wasn't just a treasure. It was bait. And foundation stage or not, Zhou Shen had taken it. Somewhere in the shadows, the system's invisible gears turned. Asterisk favorability with Tianyan Sword Sect, plus 10%. Hidden quest activated, the Brother's Keeper. Asterisk Lin Shen smiled through the blood. Let the wolf think he'd won the hunt. The trap was only just beginning to close. Asterisk asterisk chapter, title, Foundation's Edge, asterisk 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 word count, 17,500 asterisk asterisk. The scent of spilled wine and charred wood clung to the ruined tavern as Lin Shen circled his opponent. The crimson cloud soared humming in his grip like a living thing. Across the shattered tables, Zhou Shen flexed his fingers around the hilt of the snow-slashing saber, its blade glinting with an unnatural frost. The rogue cultivator's foundation stage aura pressed against Lin's senses like a physical weight thick, suffocating, the kind of power that made lesser men kneel. Lin Shen's health bar pulsed in his peripheral vision. 1,540, 2,300, a stark reminder of how close he was to death. Blood trickled from a gash on his temple, the sting sharpening his focus. He exhaled, slow and controlled, feeling the Tianyan Heart Sutra cycling ki through his battered meridians. 5%. That was the edge the sect's foundational technique. Gave him 5% more strength, 5% more speed. Against a foundation stage cultivator. It should have been meaningless. And yet Zhou Shen lunged his saber, carving through the air in a silver arc. Lin barely twisted aside, the blade slicing through the fabric of his sleeve instead of flesh. The rogue cultivator's lips curled into a sneer. "You're slower than I expected for a Tianyan disciple." His voice was smooth, almost bored. "Did they not teach you how to fight, or are you just particularly ungifted?" Lin didn't rise to the taunt. He adjusted his grip on the crimson cloud sword, the weapon's spirit resonating with his own ki. It remembered bloodshed, this blade. It remembered victory. The next exchange was a blur. Zhou Shen's saber techniques were brutal, efficient. Each strike carrying the weight of a cultivator who had spent decades honing his craft. Lin countered with the precision of the Tianyan forms. His movements economical, his breathing steady even as his muscles screamed in protest. He parried a downward slash, sidestepped a sweeping cut, and barely managed to deflect a thrust aimed at his heart. The impact sent him skidding back, his boots grinding against broken pottery. Zhou Shen didn't let up. He pressed forward, his saber flickering like winter lightning. "You're not bad," he admitted, though his tone made it sound like an insult. "For an initial phase brat." Lin's ribs ached where a glancing blow had landed earlier. His stamina, bar visible only to him, dipped dangerously low. He couldn't keep this up, not without something changing. Then his fingers brushed the violet jade pill tucked into his inner robe. The elixir was cool against his skin, its surface thrumming with condensed energy. Master had given it to him before he left the sect. Her expression unreadable. 3 years to refine, she'd said. Do not waste it. Lin had planned to save it. For a true emergency. For a moment when death was certain without it. This qualified. He ducked beneath another slash. Rolled to create distance. And in the half-second of reprieve, crushed the pill between his teeth. The effect was instantaneous. Power-raw, unbridled flooded. His meridians, like a dam breaking. His health bar surged, the numbers climbing rapidly. 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, until it settled at 4,540. Golden light wreathed his arms, his sword, his very being. The system's notification flickered across his vision. ***, mystical grade, violet jade pill, activated. ***, duration, 5 minutes, ***, effects, *+30 to all combat attributes. Stamina, recovery, 3,000 points. Zhou Shen's eyes widened. Yu Lin didn't let him finish. He moved. The world blurred as shadow step carried him forward, his speed now rivaling Zhou Shen's own. The crimson cloud sword lashed out, its edge gleaming like a sliver of dawn. The rogue cultivator barely raised his saber in time, the clash of steel ringing through the tavern for the first time. Zhou Shen was forced back. Lin pressed the advantage, his strikes coming faster, sharper. The elixir's energy burned through him, lending inhuman strength to every swing. He feinted left, then pivoted into a diagonal cut that forced Zhou Shen to block awkwardly. The impact sent a tremor through the rogue's arms. "You, Zhou Shen," snarled, his composure cracking. "What kind of trick is this?" "No trick," Lin said, his voice steady despite the fire in his veins. "Just better preparation." The next exchange was brutal. Lin's enhanced attributes let him match Zhou Shen blow for blow, his sword weaving a deadly dance. He exploited every opening, every fractional delay in the rogue's reactions. A shallow cut on Zhou Shen's forearm, a graze along his ribs. Small wounds, but they added up. Zhou Shen's health bar ticked downward. 5,100, 4,800, 4,500. But the rogue cultivator wasn't done yet. With a snarl, he activated his signature technique, soul-splitting slash. The saber's edge glowed violet, the air itself screaming as the blade tore toward Lin. It was a technique meant to cleave through armor, through bone, through the very soul. Lin barely dodged, the edge grazing his shoulder. Pain flared, his health bar dropping by 400 in an instant. He gritted his teeth. Even with the elixir, a direct hit would be catastrophic. Zhou Shen grinned, sensing weakness. "Your little pill won't last forever." Lin knew that. The timer, his mind ticked relentlessly. 3 minutes, 22 seconds. Remaining, he needed to end this, now. The final gambit, Lin. Chen had one last card to play. He'd noticed it earlier, the flaw in Zhou Shen's clone shadow step. The technique created two afterimages, perfect duplicates that moved in sync with the original. But only the real Zhou Shen had life in his eyes. The clone's gazes were empty, soulless, a small detail, a fatal one. Lin waited for the next activation. When Zhou Shen blurred, splitting into three identical figures, Lin didn't hesitate. He focused past the illusions, past the flickering sabers, and locked onto the center figure, the one whose eyes burned with malice. The crimson cloud soared, struck like a viper. Zhou Shen realized his mistake too late. He twisted, but the blade bit deep into his side. Blood sprayed, his health bar plummeting to 2,900. His roar was half fury, half disbelief. Lin didn't let up. He pressed forward, his sword a whirlwind of crimson and gold. Zhou Shen blocked, but his movements were sluggish now, his breath ragged. The tide had turned. With a final, desperate shout, Zhou Shen unleashed Soul Chase, a spiritual attack meant to paralyze the mind. Lin felt it claw at his consciousness. Cold, insidious presence. But the elixir's energy flared, burning away the intrusion, and then Lin was inside Zhou Shen's guard. The crimson cloud sword pierced his chest. For a heartbeat, the world stood still. Zhou Shen looked down at the blade lodged in his ribs, his expression almost bemused. Then his knees buckled. Lin yanked the sword free, watching as the rogue cultivator collapsed. The system's notification flashed. Asterisk, asterisk, hell, difficulty mission complete. Asterisk, 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 reward. Unlocked upon return to sect. Asterisk, asterisk, silence settled over the battlefield. The elixir's glow faded from Lin's veins, leaving behind exhaustion and the metallic tang of blood. He swayed, catching himself on a broken table. It was over. Hash, 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 asterisk, asterisk, denouement. The aftermath, asterisk, asterisk, dawn crept over Feng City as Lin Chen limped from the ruined tavern. His robes were torn, his body aching, but the weight of Zhou Shen's spatial ring in his pocket was a tangible reminder of victory. Inside were treasures, spirit stones, rare herbs, and most importantly, the 100 times forged ring. An artifact that would fetch a fortune in the sex contribution hall. But more than loot, Lin had gained something intangible. Asterisk, asterisk, sword. Intent comprehended. Asterisk, 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 swordsmanship aptitude plus 5%. Asterisk, asterisk, the knowledge thrummed in his bones. A promise of future growth. He could feel it the way his blade had moved with him, not just as a tool, but as an extension of his will, as he disappeared into the morning mist. The system's final message pulsed quietly, waiting to be acknowledged. Asterisk, asterisk, new quest, the brothers. Keeper Phase 2, asterisk, asterisk, Lin Chen touched the fresh scar on his ribs and smiled. Let them come.